everyone, it's Lottie. I'm back with a new video. This one is going to be a little bit different in format to the ones that I usually do, but I'm going to be doing more of this type of video going forward. I suppose it's a bit of a life update. I want to share with you an event, a very exciting event that's coming up in 2 months' time. Surprise! We're moving to Thailand. In this video, which is the first in my new Moving to Phuket series, I'm going to share with you why we're moving and how we're moving. So if you are considering a move to Thailand yourself, particularly Phuket, keep watching this video for practical advice on exactly how I'm organising this big move so that you can make this a reality for your family too. So let's start with why we're making this enormous life-changing move to the other side of the world and why we chose Phuket. During the pandemic, I came to the realisation that living in the northeast of England just doesn't align with my dreams and aspirations for my family anymore. The pandemic threw into sharp focus that we're just not happy living in a little cottage in the freezing north, and that we want something a bit more adventurous with more freedom for our family. I know it's a cliche, but the weather in the UK does have a big part to play in this. The boredom, the sense of boredom is a big piece to this. There's not really a lot to do around where we live, and the things that there are to do, we've pretty much done them all. That's not to say that we don't try and make the most of where we're living. We do. We try and do things together as a family. We go on fantastic holidays, of course, but those holidays are elsewhere. We're not having that fun here at home. So that tells me that something needs to change. Looking for more of a sense of freedom is another big one. Unfortunately, in the UK, government overreach is an increasing thing. I can't risk us being locked down in our houses again like we were before. That's just something I'm not willing to do ever again. So thankfully in Thailand, the government pretty much leaves you alone. As long as you pay your way, you're respectful and kind to your fellow expats, the tourists and Thais, they pretty much leave you to get on and do whatever you want with your life within reason. A very personal reason for me is my recent spiritual awakening. I feel the need to be with like-minded people in an environment where I can continue to thrive and continue to develop my practices, to be around people that I can talk about this with. That's not something I have here at all. I have amazing friends, but none of them are into the things that I'm into. So for me, I feel like a move is going to sort of launch me into the next stage of that. I think probably the biggest catalyst for this was when our son Finn arrived. He is a very outdoor, elemental little being. He does not like being inside very much. He prefers to be outside. So I really want to give him a life where that's a reality on a daily basis for him. He's also a water baby and he's obsessed with the ocean. I can't think of anything better for him than living on a tropical island, basically. When we visited Phuket over Christmas and New Year, he was in heaven. I've never seen him so happy. So yeah, his arrival has really pushed us to living the life that we want to live for ourselves and for him. So yeah, that's a rundown on some of the reasons. There are many that I haven't even mentioned, but that's probably some of the main ones. And before we move on, I wanted to tackle the topic of guilt. I have felt really guilty about wanting to make this big change in our lives. I felt guilty because from the outside looking in, you would think that we had all of the ingredients for a perfect life. We have a beautiful home. Adam has a fantastic job that gives us a very comfortable lifestyle. We're all healthy. I'm able to stay at home to look after Finn. We go on wonderful holidays. We have a reliable vehicle. We can feed ourselves. We have hot water, all the rest of those things that you think, yeah, if you have those things, then you have a successful life. So there was a huge amount of guilt for me wanting more, for thinking, that's great, but it's not enough. I want more. So it took me a while to get over that, but I pretty much came to the conclusion that I can be grateful for what I already have and want more. Those two things can exist simultaneously. So while I am extremely grateful for everything that I have, and I do a daily gratitude practice where I think about all the things, the amazing, amazing things in my life that I'm so, so thankful for. I can feel that way, but want more as well. So yeah, I don't feel guilty about the way I feel anymore. I feel that way and I think that's okay. I feel completely happy with the choices that we've made and really excited to move. Okay, let's talk a little bit about why I chose Phuket. So Thailand has been a place that Adam and I have always wanted to move to. We visited Thailand and Southeast Asia for a 5-month period when we were younger. We fell in love with Thailand instantly. It is the most beautiful place on earth. And we always thought one day, you never know, we might move there. It was a bit of a dream and we didn't really think it would ever come true, but that's what we wanted. We always wanted to move to Thailand. So we went through a period of wondering whether we actually could do this for real. And one day we just sat down together and said, it's happening. We're going to move to Thailand. And from that day, we've had our minds completely set on Phuket because it provides us with everything that we need as a family. It has a huge expat community. It has all the facilities that you need as a Westerner moving to the east. So it has like-minded people, as I said, a community of expats. It has great schools, hospitals, supermarkets, doctors, opticians, vets, everything that we need Phuket can provide. So that's why we chose to move there. Okay, that's quite enough of the heavy stuff, I think. Let's move on to the practicalities of making this move. This is probably what you're watching this video for. We'll go downstairs to my desk and I'm going to talk through a few topics, very important topics that you need to consider before you decide whether a move to Phuket is for you. Okay, let's talk about the nitty-gritty of moving to Phuket. It's important to bear in mind that Thailand loves paperwork. This whole process is not going to be simple. It is going to be complicated. There's a lot of administrative work that you need to do. That's kind of the point of this series of videos. I'm going to go through it all with you in real time so that you can benefit from my experience and most likely my mistakes, so you won't have to repeat them. We have lots to get through. If you have any comments or questions about anything that I discussed today, please pop them below in the comment section and I will try my best to answer them. But bear in mind that I'm learning as I go with this. So I will advise you to the best of my knowledge. If I don't know the answer to your question, I will try and direct you to someone who can help you. Okay, let's start with flights. Flying at the moment is much more expensive. I booked our flights from Newcastle in the UK to Phuket, changing planes at Dubai. I booked them about 3 months ago, I think, and I paid £1,900 for one-way tickets to Phuket. I had a look yesterday and those same flights are now twice as expensive. So if you are planning a move, I recommend that you get the flights booked quickly, as soon as you can, because you have time on your side then. When they release flights, they tend to be cheaper. I decided to book with Emirates. They are an airline that we use quite often. They do a lot of flights from the UK, Europe in general, over to Asia. So we have our tickets with Emirates again. Also, airlines are going out of business at the moment, so choose an airline that you can be fairly confident in and are less likely to go bust between you booking your flight and your actual flight. It's important to note that if you have booked a one-way flight to Thailand to emigrate, you need to have another flight booked or a train journey or a bus journey out of Thailand within the 30-day window if you're getting the visa exemption, or on visas later. You must have another ticket booked out of Thailand within the 30 days that the visa exemption allows you. We used a website called onwardticket.com. That website allows you to book cheap onward flights out of Phuket. You need to have this sorted so that you qualify for the visa exemption when you arrive. Bear in mind, if you're not in Europe or the UK, or the US, I believe, not everyone has the ability to have a visa exemption when you get into Thailand. You may have to get yourself a tourist visa. I'm not sure how many days that gives you because that's not what I've had to do, but you need to make sure you get the right type of visa and you need to make sure you have your outward travel booked beforehand. Clear as mud. All this visa stuff is clear as mud. Okay, accommodation next. So We've booked a villa through Airbnb for the first 5 weeks of our stay, just to give us a base from which we can search for a long-term rental. You might be thinking 5 weeks is a long time just to look for somewhere to live, but as we are arriving the end of October, that's the beginning of the high season, so the amount of villas that are available are going to be much lower than if we arrived, say, now in August. You could, of course, just book a hotel room for a few weeks if you are a couple or on your own. If you have a family, I highly recommend you book a villa. Get that booked before you go. Another thing that you might want to try and negotiate alongside your villa or room is a free airport transfer. So we managed to get our host, our Airbnb host, to collect us from the airport and bring us to our villa. That means you don't have to get involved with the taxi mafia at Phuket Airport, who will rip you off. A piece of advice on finding a villa once you do arrive in Phuket: there are lots of Facebook groups, buy and sell in Phuket, Phuket properties, and a few others that you might want to join. Lots of agents and owners advertise their properties directly on there, so you don't have to go through anybody to find a place. Bear in mind though that you can get scammed on Facebook pages, so use your discernment before you organise to go and view anywhere. Hey, hello. You okay? Okay. Yes, join Facebook pages. You will get a good idea as well on what things are going for, so you can sort out your budget beforehand. But remember, you can also negotiate the price that is being advertised on Facebook. You may be able to negotiate it down quite considerably, so bear that in mind as well. I will, of course, be recording our villa search in great detail, so that I can show you the process from finding somewhere to viewing it to negotiating a price and moving in. So all of that entire process will be recorded. Next is transport. So alongside booking our first villa, we have also hired a car for the first 2 weeks of our stay. So we need to have a vehicle to get us to property viewings and also to get Finn to kindergarten. I'll talk more about kindergarten later. But yes, we needed transport, so we've gone with a company called Nina's Cars, which is in Rawai. We have a Honda Jazz, I believe, for 2 weeks for a really good price, and that includes a toddler seat for Finn. We negotiated to have Nina's Cars drop the vehicle off at our villa in Rawai. They'll be dropping that off the day after we arrive, so we don't need to go there, they will come to us. During the 2 weeks of the rental, we will be looking for a car to buy. I'm not totally sure about the rules and regulations around foreigners buying cars in Thailand. I guess it depends on the individual dealership, what paperwork they require. We will be on education visas, so whether that's enough to purchase a car, I'm not sure. So again, I'll keep you up to date with that one. But if all goes well, within the first 2 weeks, we should have our own vehicle. If you're not looking to buy a car and you would like to use public transport instead, the best app for taxis is called InDriver. You can download that from the App Store. InDriver is a little cheaper than apps such as Bolt, because you can suggest an amount that you want to pay the driver and then you negotiate between the two of you. So I've heard lots of good things about InDriver. Add that to your list to download when you arrive. Okay, let's tackle visas. So visas are a complicated issue when moving to Phuket. Probably the most complicated thing that I've had to deal with so far. And my advice is get an agent. Do not try to do this on your own. You will go crazy. Find yourself a reputable agent. If you have contacts on the island, then ask them to recommend a visa agent to you. I'm happy to recommend my agent to you. Just drop a comment below. You will have to pay for it, of course, but it can be done. It can be sorted. So don't stress too much about it. Get an agent that can sort this all out for you. There are many options, some better than others. Adam and I are going for the education visa for the first 12 months, and then we will see after then what options present itself, but I'm confident that there will be a fix to this. I know that I can get a guardian visa off the back of Finn's attending school, so that's one option, but yeah, don't stress about it too much. I've lost quite a lot of sleep about it and I didn't need to. Okay, let's talk about health insurance next. This is something that quite a lot of people don't put much importance on, but it is very, very important. So you need to have health insurance for the entirety of your stay in Thailand. I've gone with a company called World Nomad. They do cover for families. So we've got like a family health cover for the first 12 months. Yes, it was expensive, but it covers us for any issues that we might have, emergency healthcare needs that we might have as a family. And then after the 12 months policy has ended, I intend to find a broker in Thailand to sort out our health insurance going forward. That seems to be what most people do. Next, let's talk about transporting pets. So if you have a pet that you want to take with you to Thailand, it's absolutely doable. Again, it's expensive, but it's absolutely doable. So we're using a company called Pet Air to transport our cat Star from the UK to Thailand. They quoted me around £2,000 to collect Star from our home, take her down to London, put her on a flight to Phuket. Then I have an agent in Phuket who will be collecting Star from the airport, getting her through customs. This again is something that you need to make sure you organise in plenty of time, because there are rules on types of vaccinations that animals need to have before they can enter Thailand. Perhaps the most important one is rabies. There is rabies in Thailand, in Phuket, so you need to prepare for that by having your animal vaccinated. And remember that you need to update your animal's microchip address once you've moved. Having them microchipped is another stipulation of an animal entering the kingdom. So yes, make sure you've got that done, and make sure you update it once you have your new address in Phuket. Okay, transporting belongings. This is one that we've kind of gone all around the houses on. Initially, we were going to send a lot of our belongings from our home over to Thailand. Once we found out how much the shipping company wanted for that, we have changed our minds. So we're taking the bare essentials, clothes, shoes, accessories, and Finn's toys, a few household things, but not much. So with Emirates, because our flights are one-way flights, we get 30 kilos each for baggage in the hold. We are going to be utilising all of that, and also the 7 kilos for the flight itself as well. We're going to get the most out of that we possibly can. Anything that's essential that's left over, and there will be things, particularly Finn's toys. I'm looking at all of his toys now, and there are lots of toys and books to send. They will be packed into double-walled boxes before I leave. Then I will leave those boxes with my mother-in-law. I'll give her the address, and she's going to send them using an app called Mule, as in donkey. So Mule is a comparison site for shipping boxes and other belongings. Hopefully we'll be able to get a decent price using that app. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is schooling. So if you have children, this is going to be something that's very important to you. It certainly is for me. It's difficult to choose a school when you are in the UK. All you can do is look at their websites, look at their social media, talk to them on WhatsApp or Line to get an idea of the ethos of each school. So we've made a decision where we're going to send Finn, but there is loads and loads of choice on the island depending on what it is that you want. There are lots of fantastic international schools to choose from. So I recommend you do your research, talk to the schools, and then make a decision that you feel is going to be best for your child. Bear in mind that some schools, they need you to enrol your child at the end of summer, regardless of when they're going to start. So Finn is enrolled in his new school, but he won't actually start until November. So to keep their place, that's often what you have to do. So again, bear that in mind. You may have to do that a few months before you move to ensure that you secured that place for your child. Okay, just 2 things left to talk about. I want to talk about immunisations. So if your family are vaccinated, you need to make sure that you're up to date with all your immunisations before you go, especially if you're in the UK, because you can get many of these immunisations on the NHS. If you go to Phuket and you need boosters, you're going to have to pay for these through a private hospital. Talk to your doctor, check that everybody's up to date, and get any boosters that you need before you go. You also need to have rabies vaccines before you go. This you cannot get on the NHS, so you will have to pay for it. it was about £60 per dose, and you need 3 doses per person. So it's expensive, but it's far better than exposing yourself to rabies without having any immunity to it. And please remember that if you are bitten by a dog in Thailand, even if you're immunized, you need to go straight to the hospital for urgent medical treatment. Okay, one final quick topic to talk about, utilities. So this is something that is, I hate doing it basically, but every time you move, of course, you need to update your utilities. So, and this is particularly important if you're going to be moving to another country. You can't ring your water company to request a final bill when you're on the other side of the world. You can, but it's going to cost you a lot of money. So before you move, make sure you cancel all your utilities, your subscriptions, make sure you don't owe any money so you can have a clean break when you leave. All right, everyone, thank you so much for watching to the end of this video. I hope that it's been useful for you. It's been a very talky one, I realise that, but at this stage, really, in the planning stage, that's all I can do is talk you through where we are and try and share my advice and experience as much as I can. As we go forward with this video series, you're going to see a lot more content of me actually doing these things that I've planned and providing you with feedback on what it was like to actually move to Phuket. So this video series is going to continue all the way through the process of us moving and settling in Phuket, and I would absolutely love it if you would follow our journey. If you have any questions at all, please add them to the comment section and I will do my best to answer them. Also, please like this video, subscribe to my newbie channel and hit the notification bell so that you know when I've added more content. You can also follow me on Instagram. I'm quite active over there. I will pop a link for that below in the description, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.